moving a little bit, but not a lot. So it still looks like we have quite the nasty weekend on hand. I know everybody wants details. Everybody wants to know, do I cancel this plan? Do I make this plan? What time exactly are we going to get snow and all those things? But we unfortunately are still a little early in the process to be talking about specifics at that level. You look around our area right now, we're in the 40s area wide. There might be some low 30s sneaking around out there. Looks like maybe North Fort Worth. Still in the low 30s there. A little warmer out east of here. Athens, Tyler, Jacksonville, all in the low 50s. And no reading from Midway Airport here in Waxahachie, Midlothian. So looks like that station is down once again. It has a tendency to do that. Not sure what the deal is there. But we'll just get straight into what we are expecting going forward here. The chances for rain tomorrow look very low. I've dropped those to 30%, and I just don't expect much rain. I think we may have just a few light showers before everything picks up and moves off to the east. So that's kind of what I'm expecting in terms of rain tomorrow. That's mostly going to be in the morning time anyway. So that's what we're looking at. So rain tomorrow. Deborah, I've seen your question about rain before on Thursday. The forecast has not changed. Not looking at rain on Thursday. So we've had that in the forecast for a few days here. Just not expecting any rain on Thursday. Everything starts on Friday. At least that's the way the models are looking right now. So if we take a look here, and we'll just go straight into the Pivotal platform, and hopefully this works for me. I've had some issues with it today. I really think they're having trouble dealing with all of this traffic that is generated by this storm. So if we take a look, number one, again, rain starts early Wednesday morning. I mean, it could be out of here by noon, early afternoon. And at that, I think it's just some light rain, just light showers here and there before everything picks up and moves on to the east. But we're going to start off with the GFS model. The latest run of the GFS model is noticeably aggressive. I mean, it's the most aggressive of all of the model runs that we've done so far. And we, I've I've looked at the solutions that the GFS model is putting out there, and I'm shaking my head. I mean, it's just outlandish. So what has not really changed is that we have rain starting Friday night. No change there in the GFS. And really, Saturday looks about the same. So freezing precipitation through Saturday. When it comes to the specific modalities, whether we're talking about freezing rain, sleet, or snow, which of one are we going to get over the other? They all kind of, they're all kind of pretty close together. Well, I say that. Now we have the GFS that's flying off the handle here. But they all have variations of those in our area, but they all differ in terms of, are we going to see more freezing rain? Are we going to see more sleet? How much snow will we get? There's variations there. And there are plenty of times where, it's hard to know exactly what time one's going to bleed into the other, that's going to bleed into the other. And usually we get a mix of all of those different things, which is why a mix is the only thing I'm forecasting right now. We're several days away, sometimes hours ahead of time. It's hard to forecast that stuff. But of course, if you look at the little Q here, this little key here, the purple is sleet, the orange is freezing rain, the blue is snow, and of course the green and yellow is regular rain. There's what I'm watching on some of these models is that they, particularly I think the GFS model and the UK model, both give us this second disturbance that comes in behind the first one. And with the GFS model, it kind of bleeds in, but you notice this is Sunday at 9 o'clock at night. This is Monday morning that it just really has freezing precipitation sticking around. And then we get this high pressure moving in. And the GFS model, I think, has temperatures Tuesday and Wednesday mornings in the single digits. I've not seen a model yet go that aggressive, and I really am taking that with a huge grain of salt. Not really looking at it very seriously. We'll go to the Canadian model here, and I feel like the Canadian model is a little more kind of what we've seen recently. Again, light rain Wednesday, and then as we get into Friday, this has rain starting maybe a little later on Friday, but not a huge change there. Again, now I will say the Canadian model has heavier precipitation. Now, sometimes this is just a difference in kind of the scale, if you will, between these models. So I don't put a whole lot of weight on that, but it does show, again, more, a quick push of freezing rain and then mostly sleet, and then really kind of doesn't give us a whole lot of snow, but it gets everything out of here pretty early on Sunday. And then a second push of precipitation doesn't really materialize here. So that's the Canadian model. The Canadian model has, I think, been the most consistent we've seen so far. If you go over to the UK model here, we'll take a look. Let's make sure that's the latest run here. These are all from this morning. The European model takes forever to render, so we haven't seen much from that yet. But the UK model, again, rain breaking out early Friday morning, kind of on the earlier side. And then what's interesting about the UK model is that it keeps rain around until early Saturday morning, gives us some sleet and snow. It does have this second disturbance on the backside. And then that pulls through the evening on Saturday, and then pulls everything out early Sunday morning. So the UK model, Canadian, and as far as I've seen, the Euro are all kind of together on, hey, this is going to move out of here fairly quickly. And as far as your questions, I'm going to get to those here momentarily. I'm going to kind of go through what we've got, and then we'll take questions here at the end. So, and then the other thing that I've seen in a lot of these models too is that we start warming up by Tuesday. Monday night will be below freezing again, I think, and then we'll go farther into, I think Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, we gradually start warming back up. Again, the GFS model has this, has us like single digits Tuesday and Wednesday mornings. I'm not putting any stock in that right now. You may see people post that. I don't buy it. Not by any stretch do I buy it right now. So hopefully the Euro model has had enough time to take its time to render here. And Euro model, again, early, Wednesday morning, showers move through, gone by the afternoon hours. And then rain popping up in the morning Friday. So Friday, most of the day Friday is going to be a wet day. We likely won't see the changeover to freezing temperatures until at the earliest Friday night, maybe after sundown Friday. Some of those, again, have that changeover to freezing precipitation early Saturday morning. So I think that most of the daytime Friday, really all of the daytime Friday, is just going to be wet. It's going to be rain. It's going to be a cold rain. 3 a.m. Saturday is when the Euro model has us shifting over to those frozen modalities of precipitation. And then notice the Euro does show us kind of another push of precipitation on the other side of this. So this is part of what's keeping the precipitation going so long is, it starts on Friday, continues on Saturday. And so, but right here, this is 12 o'clock Sunday. So the Euro has us going a little further into Sunday morning with the precipitation, but again, it's out of here fairly quickly. The GFS model is the only one I've seen that's pushing this into Monday. And I think the GFS model right now is it's an outlier. And I'm not going to put a whole lot of stock in any of that. So, I mean, my forecast at this point, and let's take a look at temperatures too. Let's kind of run that and see where the Euro sits with our temperatures. And pretty clear to see the cold front coming in and the colder air as it's pushing it. So here's that cold front moving in Friday through the day. And then here comes the colder air. So you can see again, the Euro bringing in an early Saturday morning is when we drop below freezing. And then, by Sunday morning, it's pretty cold out there. And then Monday morning as well, fairly cold. But by Monday afternoon, we do get above freezing for a short time. I do buy that. I think I've seen that across most of these models, is that Monday we may not be very far above freezing, but I do think that we are able to, get above freezing there. Sunday afternoon, um, Euro doesn't give us much room to warm up on Sunday afternoon itself. And so, we may have to make some adjustments in terms of that forecast. Right now, I have us around 32 on Sunday, but if we continue to trend colder, then I may have to, make an adjustment there, because the Euro model really does not have us warming up above freezing until Monday. And then by Tuesday, Wednesday, we're back in the 40s. So the GFS model, the things you may see on social media, I really don't see a whole lot of impact in terms of whether we can really put stock in that. This is the Canadian model. Let's look at temperatures here. Canadian model is pretty aggressive with those Sunday morning temperatures. I do think we will at least see teens. I don't know if we're going to see, well, here we go. So the Canadian model, jumping on the bandwagon as well, Monday morning with some single digits there. I just have trouble buying that. And then Tuesday afternoon, maybe near freezing there for Tuesday afternoon. Monday afternoon, we stay below freezing. So we're going to have to watch this. And yeah, as far as the temperatures are concerned, the Canadian model is pretty aggressive as well. And I'm going to need to see some more trends there to really buy that. Let's look at the UK, see what they throw at us in terms of those temperatures trends. So here's that coldest air. That's Sunday. And then, Monday morning, very cold. So we may be dropping some of those Monday morning temperatures, but then Monday afternoon in the 30s. So there's some dissonance in terms of the temperatures, how long this freeze is going to last, how cold we're going to get in some of these overnights. In order to believe anything that aggressive, I'm going to need to see more trends. But the general agreement at this point is that the precipitation will be moving out by late Saturday, early Sunday. So I don't expect the precipitation to be around for too long. The question is, when do we warm up and thaw out and evaporate some of that moisture to clear up the roads? That's uncertain. So I'm going to take a few questions here. Brandon, you're asking about, is AI utilized in weather forecasting yet? I feel like that's kind of a generalized question. I'm going to try to answer everything more specific first. Morgan, every other weather person has said this is going to be a repeat of 2021. I don't see a repeat of 2021. Here's what's different. And I know that everybody, I'll say two things. One, it was recent, so we all think that. Two, people are going to try to make bank on social media with 2021 comparisons. That's what that is. I'm not afraid to say that. I don't make my living on hype social media posts, so that's just that. But let's kind of get back into these questions here. They're flying in real quick. So if there was, Amanda, you said if there was a school delay, start or closure, it would be Monday. Yes, I don't see anything like that on Friday. But Monday, it really depends on whether we get above freezing on Sunday, which is questionable, and how much of the roads clear off during that time, or what does that look like, and how long the moisture hangs around. If we still have frozen precipitation falling through Sunday, I don't see Monday being doable at all, because it would take so long to get above freezing on Monday and to clear everything out that I don't know that a 10 a.m. start would be enough. But it's still too early. We're still going to see the changes in the models. I'm convinced that, even through the day-to-day, the forecast may change 3 times. This is why people on social media and your apps change their forecasts so frequently, because they're living and dying with every model run. You have to look at the trends overall. I do a forecast once a day. Sometimes maybe twice a day in terms of what I put out there, because I want to see what the trends are overall. And I say, okay, This one model was really weird about this, but all the rest of the run said it's statistics, right? You ignore your outlier and go with where the consensus is, and that's where you get your forecast. That's your sweet spot, and that has worked for me so far. Viana, how will the drive home be on Friday afternoon? Well, assuming that everything stays the same, we're still several days away, but assuming everything stays the same, we are probably looking at Friday afternoon being okay. It's going to be cold. It's going to be a chilly rain, but I don't think we freeze until Friday night at the earliest. And then, maybe Saturday morning. Dominguez, no signs of snow on Friday at this point. Just rain. Julie praying it will not be a lot of freezing rain. So worried about power outages with temps as low as predicted. Yeah, no, I understand, and where we look at freezing rain, the comparison is a glazed donut. Freezing rain versus sleet. The comparison is a glazed donut versus a sprinkled donut. A glazed donut is that glaze, it falls as a more malleable liquid, and then it spreads all over everything, and then it dries, right? So that's your comparison. Sleet is more like the sprinkled donut, where you have the sleet. The sprinkles are more solid; they just kind of sit on the donut. Now, the comparison would also be made if you glaze it first, and then you put the sprinkles on top of it. They stick to it, right? So that can be problematic too. The point there is that freezing rain is liquid enough to spread all over everything and freeze and harden, and that's how you get your ice. That's how ice spreads more easily, because that freezing rain is liquid enough to spread out and cover surfaces before it freezes. Michael Badley, Northern Arkansas getting slammed. I really don't know. I'm not really watching Northern Arkansas since I cover North Central Texas. 70 boroughs, will airports be affected Friday? Doesn't look like it, but I can't guarantee that. I definitely can't guarantee what the airports are going to do. Every time someone asks me about an airport or an airline, I say, hey, go listen to your airliner, go wait for their updates, because I'm not responsible for, I'm not going to be responsible for your flight, and I'm not responsible for the airports. So I'm really conservative with the information I give there. A question on YouTube. Can't really tell what that name is, but do you foresee power outages? It's possible, but I don't know. We have been told by politicians that our power grid has been fixed, that the issues we had in 2021 have been addressed. Now, what I said before, and I'll say again, I don't see this being as long a freeze and as long of an issue as we had in 2021. 21, we had like a train of storms come through. And that's why we were below freezing for, 7, 8, 9 days. So that's what we're looking at in terms of this I think is going to be 3 or 4 days, as opposed to that was a 8, 9 day period. So I don't see us having equivalent issues. Now, are power outages possible? Absolutely. I think this time they will be more likely from equipment failures. So, power lines snapping or transformers, going out, whatever the case is. I think that's more likely than a total grid failure like we had back then. But you have to understand that for so long after the grid failure, every power outage was ERCOT failing, right? It was just everybody assumed that any power outage during an ice storm was the entire grid failing. It's not. The power is out on your block because a transformer went out. So you have to think logically. I know people don't like that sometimes, but you have to think logically about this stuff and understand that those grid failures are catastrophic failures of a very rare scale, but equipment failure outages happen all the time. Equipment failure outages happen on sunny days. It just depends. Let's see. Promise Junior Rhodes just joining the live. Apologize because you answered this. Yeah, so it looks like Friday evening, and you can watch this after. This will post after to where you can watch the whole thing if you're just coming in late. Would you say that Collin County is the battle zone from ice and snow? Well, Collin County's a little farther north than where I cover, but I mean, yeah, the Metroplex all the way down to at least, the central Texas, at least Austin, is going to see varying degrees of this. If anything, areas farther north are more likely to get snow than those south of I-20. And again, that's depending on the current setup. We'll see if that changes. The NAM model is actually within range here too. So let's take a look here and see. This is one of our higher resolution models that we get closer. So that has the front coming in early Friday. And then by Friday, 6 o'clock, we're dropping below freezing, or we're right there. So the NAM model at this point is advertising a little bit of an earlier start to the freezing temperatures. Still Friday night, still after dark, but maybe an earlier start. But it's just barely within reach. So we'll have a better idea tomorrow of what the high resolution data is showing, and we'll take it from there. And that will probably give us a little bit more certainty in terms of some of those specifics. So it looks like the questions have slowed. So I think we can do, and I'll go ahead and pull up the let's pull up the forecast here and just go through that. This is what we're looking at. Wednesday we have our sparse rain chances that continue to decline. And again, like I say, rain chances have seemed to decline every time we see the Wednesday rain event come through. It's just looking more and more puny. This winter thing could do the same thing. When we start getting high resolution data, it could really start to wimp out, and we'll see what that does. But Friday, I think we get to around 50. Now, if the front comes in earlier, like the NAM is advertising, we may stay in the 40s. But we cool down essentially through the day as that colder air comes in. We drop below freezing Friday night. During the day Friday, we'll have showers, maybe some thunderstorms. We stay above freezing, I think, during the day on Friday. Friday night, we drop below freezing. But it's going to be a cold day either way on Friday because we're going to have breezy winds and rain, all that good stuff. So 20s Friday night into Saturday morning. We have, once, the rain will continue on through Friday night. The precipitation will through Friday night. So once we drop below freezing, we will start to see that freezing precipitation. Now, realistically, we really have to drop into the 20s for us to really start getting into your freezing rain and your sleet and all that kind of stuff, especially roads. Roads are very tough to freeze. They tend to cool down not near as quickly as the ground does. So roads won't be as frozen as quickly as you think. It's not, as soon as we hit 32 degrees, all the roads are freezing over. Not quite how that works. Bridges and overpasses faster, but overall, not that quick. So we get to Saturday. We're in the 20s all day Saturday. Saturday is going to be the meat of this storm. This is going to be the coldest day, the most widespread precipitation. And, Saturday just looks rough. If you have plans on Saturday, do what you got to do, right? Because I don't see anything changing on Saturday. Breezy north winds, temperatures in the 20s. And then Saturday into Sunday, I have temperatures in the upper teens. We may have to adjust those again. Looks like the models are trying to drag those down a little lower. And then we go into Sunday morning or Sunday. Right now, the models are still pretty consistent on getting the, getting the precipitation out of here either late Saturday or early Sunday. The GFS model is our outlier. It's pushing this all the way to Monday. I'm not convinced of that yet. So I think Sunday we get rid of the precipitation, but the question of how much ice can we get rid of on the roads and etc. is going to depend on how warm we can get Sunday. If we can maybe get some sunshine through, that kind of thing. There's that second disturbance, and whether it brings us precipitation or not, we'll see. But it may keep clouds around long enough to keep us below freezing Sunday. Very cold Monday morning. We may have to drop those temperatures too, but it looks like on Monday we should get somewhere in the 30s, maybe around or above freezing. We'll see what that does. Some of the models look like they're trying to trend things a little bit cooler, but certainly by Tuesday, Wednesday, we should be warming up into the 30s and 40s. So that's what we've got right now. I know that's not as specific as some people want, but I will make sure to keep you updated. I mean, once we start getting into tomorrow, Thursday, that's when we start getting this higher resolution model data, and that's when we'll really start to hone in on more of these details. But it's still broad strokes right now. Stay tuned to South Metro Weather. We're going to keep you updated here over the next couple of days, over the next several days, and we will keep you updated all the way through this weekend winter storm.
A smile upon your face, and I see something shimmering in your eyes. And they say if you want to glimpse the future, you need space. And you said you'll put down your morning guns. Would you follow me to wander? Take my hand and walk beside me